Hello, welcome to a new video. Today I am following a trend I started back in October. I'm not the original creator of this idea. I just adapted it a little bit. So back in October I did, if you like this Halloween movie, here's some books. December I did, if you like this Christmas movie, here's some books. It is February. It is the month of Valentine's Day, which I do not like Valentine's Day. Whether I'm single or in a relationship, I hate Valentine's Day as a concept. It is, no. You should be doing stuff like that just random days of the year, not like saving it for the 14th. But that's here nor there. It is the month of Valentine's Day, so we're going with a theme. So this is, if you like this rom-com, here's some movies. I will say, a lot of these are teen chick flicks that I grew up with. But they are like my favourite type of rom-com because they're just light and fun. So we're starting off with one of my absolute favourites, She's the Man. Now, She's the Man, there's a few different things you could do, but I was thinking of like fake dating because she's pretending to be her brother and dating someone whilst having feelings for someone else, and fake dating. So it wouldn't be me if I didn't give you a love hypothesis as a recommendation for fake dating. This is like my ultimate fake dating book. It is my favourite fake dating book, and this is just everything. Next up, we have Written in the Stars by Alexandria Bellefleur. This is not only fake dating, but it is also sapphic. I have a few sapphic fake dating books that I've now read, and they are like kind of some of my favourite fake dating. They don't beat Love Hypothesis, obviously. But this book is just great and I love it. And then the final rec I'm giving you for fake dating is Love Theoretically by Ali Hazelwood. So this is more of a... This has fake dating in it, but it is not fake dating in the sense of these two are fake dating and then fall in love with each other. She is she's basically, to earn some extra money, she goes on fake dates with people, and she goes on a few fake dates with this guy, and then it turns out this is his brother. Just everything. But I know some people don't like fake dating in the sense like two people pretend to date each other and then they fall in love. So this is a great alternative if ever you have a fake dating prompt in a readathon or something and you don't want to read that type of book. This is a great alternative because the love interests aren't the fake dating couple. It's great. And then as with the other two videos I've done with this theme, I give you 3 recs and then I have got people to give me a rec that I haven't read. So this is from Chloe from Persistent Bookworm. She recommended Boyfriend Material by Alexis Hall. Now I do have this book. I kind of want to see if I can get to this book in February. Is my February TBR ridiculous already? Yes, but I don't care. I'm gonna maybe try. But this has fake dating and I completely forgot about that because I haven't read the synopsis for this in the longest time. And I've just looked and it's got wanted, 1 fake boyfriend, practically perfect in every way. I also noticed the last time I had this book out and I was flicking through it, that the start of the chapters have like the tube symbol. So yeah. Next up is another classic teen rom-com from back in my day. And it is 10 Things I Hate About You. This film, I love this film so much. But the thing that most comes to mind when I think of this book is Rivals to Lovers, because she genuinely hates his guts. And it is great. It's great. So for this, I know not everyone likes Enemies to Lovers, so I thought I would throw in a little bit of a curveball with Rosalind Palmer Takes the Cake by Alexis Hall. Now, the reason is the romance itself isn't actually Enemies to Lovers or Rivals to Lovers. However, they are all taking part in a baking competition. So they are rivals. And I really like that twist on it. And this is a great book. It was one of my favourites last year. Next we have Ashley Parker Doesn't Fail by Ashley Herring Blake. This is a sapphic one. Am I gonna recommend loads of sapphic if I can? Yes. I don't know how much more sapphic recommendations I've got on here, but I always try and add some. But this is a great rivals to lovers. Like, it's great. And then the final rec from me is a fantasy, and it is Frostblood by Ellie Blake. So this is rivals to lovers in the sense that, so the Firebloods and the Frostbloods are basically at war, and she is a Fireblood and he is a Frostblood. So if that's not rivals to lovers, I don't know what is. It's a great YA fantasy series and no one really talks about it. And then the recommendation I was given was from Ash, and it was The Serpent and the Wings of Night by Carissa Broadbent. I'm going to be honest, I don't actually know much about this book other than Ash recommends it. Ash really enjoyed it, and it's a stunning cover. So yeah. Next up we have Mean Girls. Now, I'm talking the original 2004. However, there's a new one that's just come out. So for me, I thought a really cool idea for like what is making me think about it at the moment is retelling, because the story is being retold to a new generation and I hate it. Have I seen the new film? No. However, I have heard some of the soundtrack and I hate it because I'm a massive fan of the Broadway soundtrack. And it just doesn't do it for me with the new movie. So I'm going to stick with my Broadway soundtrack, and I'm going to stick with my 2004 movie with Lindsay Lohan. But yeah, retelling. So the first one, this is a future recommendation for you, because this book isn't actually out till June. I was just very lucky to win an ARC at Yalc, and it is Sleep Like Death by Kaylin Bayron. I will say for retellings, you can basically do almost all of Kaylin Bayron's books apart from You're Not Supposed to Die Tonight. Although even that you could twist it, because it takes ideas from like classic slasher movies, like from the 80s. So it's kind of like retelling those. But Cinderella is Dead is a kind of retelling because it's set 200 years after Cinderella. This Poison Heart is actually a Secret Garden retelling, which I didn't see it when I read it. But then afterwards, when I found out about that, I was like, oh, hang on a sec. No, that makes sense. And then she also has a book called My Dear Henry, which is a Jekyll and Hyde retelling. So basically any Kaylin Bayron. But this is like my new favourite because I've just read it and it is her best one yet, in my opinion. Next up, if you want to go on a bit of the spicy side... we have the Wicked Villain series by Katie Robert. If you know me, you know I love this series. But this is all like retellings with like a twist. Because like this is like none of these are fantasy. Like this is very much mafia, which I don't usually like mafia, but I think because it had a Disney twist. So this is Jasmine and Jafar. There is Hades, Hercules and Meg. There's Belle, Gaston and the Beast. There's many different... well, there's 6 books in this series. They're all great. But these. And then we have Legend Born by Tracy Dion. This is a Merlin and Arthur retelling. This is great. I used to have a physical copy, but I tried reading it. And if you've got the UK paperback, you will understand that writing is tiny. And I gave myself a headache trying to read the writing that small. So I switched to the audiobook and unhauled the physical book. I would like to see if I can get an edition that the writing is bigger, because I need to continue the series. But this is a great retelling and I really enjoyed the first one. And then this rec kind of came from Chloe. She didn't specifically say this when I asked, but when I was planning this video, I remembered that she recommends everything by this author. So it is Gwen and Art Are Not in Love by Lex Croucher. This is also, I think, an Arthur retelling. Yes, this is also an Arthur retelling. I really want to read this soon because it sounds so good. But yeah, okay. The next one, you are going to think, when I say the name of this film, you are going to think, why the hell have you put this film on a book about rom-coms? but bear with me. You can argue with me on this, but I'm staying strong because it's my video. Shrek. Now, for this, I think romantic fantasy. So romantasy, if you don't like that word, I'm sorry. It rolls off the tongue. I quite like it. But there is fantasy in this because there's lots of magic and magical elements. There's romance. Shrek and Fiona. Donkey and the Dragon. So yeah, it's romantasy. You can argue with me. I don't care. I'm staying strong on this. Romantasy. Shrek is a rom-com. But for this, I also really wanted to recommend some romantices because I love this genre. So first up, we have a classic in the romantasy era now, From Blood and Ash by Jennifer L. Armentrout. I feel like I was here before the hype of this book. Like, I discovered this book, read the first one, got obsessed with it, read the second one, and that's when it started getting like loads of like people talking about it on TikTok. I was back in the YouTube recommendation days. I found this through YouTubers. But I love how popular this has got because I just, yes. But this is like an ultimate romantasy and I'm here for it. Next up, we go to the more YA side, and it is Crave by Tracy Wolff. This is a perfect romantasy. I love this series so much. So much. I know a lot of people didn't like the way one of the books ended. I disagree. I thought it ended great, and then the story just continued to get better and better after that. But you know, we don't judge people for their opinions on like different opinions, even if we disagree. But yeah, I love this series, and this is a great YA romantasy if you don't want like any, because I find books like this have a lot of smut, and if you're not into that but you want the romance, this is great. And then we have Serpent and Dove by Shelby Mahurin. I love this book. It's got the fantasy side because there is like witches and witch hunters, but also the romance because it is also an arranged marriage, kind of a forced marriage as well, between a witch and a witch hunter, but he doesn't know she's a witch. It's great. And then the rec from this for this one comes from Meg and Chloe, because they do not stop talking about Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. This is not my sort of book because I think it's more historical romantasy, but I have heard nothing but good things about this book and the sequel from many people, but mostly Meg and Chloe. So here's another rec. Next up, another classic from my teen years. We have 13 going on 30. Now for this, we're going for a very basic prompt because obviously she's a teenager. She ends up in a, like, her 30-year-old self's body, but she is still 13 in her brain. So we're just going to go for YA for this. Just YA. So first up, bit of fantasy. We're going for A Curse So Dark and Lonely by Bridget Kemmerer. This is a great YA fantasy series. Like, there are the 3 main books, and now there is a sequel series that has started as well with the first book coming out, and it is just consistently great the whole time. I love it. Then we're not surprised if Ali Hazelwood brings out a YA. You know I'm recommending it constantly for anything YA. This book is great, and even the chess side was just so interesting because as a kid I used to play chess. Not to this extent. It was always just me and my mum playing chess, but this is a great YA. And then we're back on the Sapphic. We have Imogen, obviously, by Becky Albertalli. This is a love letter to any queer person figuring themselves out, even if you're 30 years old and already have yourself figured out and have done since you were 14. This was a love letter, and it was absolutely amazing. And then the recommendation for YA for this came from Ash again. So it is The Do's and Donuts of Love by Adiba Jagadar. I might have pronounced that name wrong, but I don't know much about this, but I do vaguely remember Ash saying there are puns in this, so I instantly want to read this because puns. And then the final film, I think this is the only not teen chick flick, but I did watch this when I was a teen. It's Miss Congeniality. This film is great. Anyone that says otherwise is incorrect, because this film is great. But my main thing I take from this is badass female main character. So that's the prompt we're going with. So first up, we're basically doing anything by Sarah J Maas, because Aileen, Selena, Feyre after the first book, Nesta, Bryce, there are so many. So anything by Sarah J Maas. Next we have Kith and Kin by Marieke Nijkamp. Vex is the most badass female main character. She is everything. I was really about to make the she's just everything and he's just Ken, but Vax isn't just Ken, so I can't say that because Vax is amazing. But you get my drift. And then the final rec from me for this one is Extasia by Claire Legrand. This is literally about like witches, and there are a lot of female badass main characters in this, especially the main one. I loved this book. It was great. And then the rec that was given to me for this one was by Tori, and it was On a Sunbeam by Tilly Walden. This is like a sci-fi, I believe, and apparently it has a badass female main character. Although Tori would also say Poison Study, but I have read the first book in that series, so I'm gonna give her this one. Poison Study by Maria V. Snyder has a badass like female main character, but I'm taking her recommendation as On a Sunbeam because I haven't read that one. Okay, so that was my if you like this rom-com movie, read these books. I hope you have got some good recommendations. Let me know if there are any books you would recommend for any of these. But I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you next time. Bye.